Welcome, everybody, to Cannabis Services webinar on Delaware. If you are looking for a really cool, fun, and exciting new state to begin your endeavor in applying for a cannabis business license, I think Delaware might be a great one. And there's a lot of movement that has happened, particularly with the license round opening, the application round window opening. It actually got moved up earlier. So we wanted to get this webinar out to you ASAP because you don't have to start on September 1st. You can start next week. So that's going to be a big deal for people. And we want to make sure you have enough time to get prepared and make a competitive application. So let's just jump right in. But actually, before we do that, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Emily Cisneros. I'm the founder and CEO of Cannabis Services. And we've got Beth Panacucci, who is our Director of Operations. She manages and oversees all of our clients in the cannabis division. And it's been an exciting ride. We've been working in this industry for many years, and we have seen pretty much everything there is to see, I feel like, although every round opens up new possibilities there. So let's jump right in and let's talk Delaware. So Beth, why
I
don't
know
you?
we're so excited that
I
we get
know,
to introducing
I know.
ourselves.
Oh yeah, I know. Let's just go right in. So let's talk about the license types available and the breakdown. There's a limited amount of
Sure.
licenses that will be awarded, and then there's different kind of buckets that people fall into.
Yep,
Let's start with the total number of license types available, and then of course the different classes that they fall into.
absolutely. So we almost never see an application round open ahead of schedule. So that was really exciting news out of Delaware, first of all, that they're going to open the round 2 weeks before they thought, which also is beneficial to applicants because they're not closing the window early. They're keeping it at September 30th. So you have an extra 2 weeks. There's been a lot of headlines that Delaware is giving out 125 licenses with no explanation of what that licensing breakdown is. And so I think when people see that number, they just automatically assume retail licenses. Well, Delaware is a very small state with 3 counties. So they're not giving out 125 retail licenses. It's 125 total licenses. 30 of those are going to be retail with 15 set aside for social equity. And we'll talk more about what that means on the next slide. Cultivation, they're giving out up to 60 licenses. They split them between various canopy sizes. We just didn't, get into the details on that for this conversation, but the breakdown there is 20 micro, 20 social equity, 20 open. Manufacturer is up to 30 licenses, 10 micro, 10 social equity, 10 open. I think you're seeing a trend here with how they're issuing the licenses. And then testing laboratories up to 5 licenses, 3 will be open and 2 will be for social equity qualified applicants.
Yeah, and that's really good overview. And let's kind of touch on the when you said here we've got social equity, we've got open, and we've got micro. So open in other states they call that standard, so or
Yep.
standard size. So if you don't qualify under social equity or micro, you're going to have an open division license. So let's touch more about social equity in particular, micro, and open. So social equity always has requirements across different states. It requires majority ownership and control, just as it does here. So Beth, why don't you touch on social equity first, and then we'll dive into the micro business. And then if you don't really quite fit in either one, what's that storybook where she kind of figures out which bed she wants to sleep in or whatever? What is it?
Oh,
Goldilocks?
Goldilocks, yeah.
The Goldilocks? That's one thing. It's like
Goldilocks and the
social
Three
equity doesn't
Bears.
fit me. That's it. Micro business doesn't fit me, but open fits me. Or maybe, hey, micro business is exactly what I was looking for. So let's touch base on each of them.
Absolutely. So for social equity, first of all, you have to be a Delaware resident over a certain period of time. And there's a validation process that you have to go through with the state. So you have to meet one of the following criteria. And to Emily's point, she already said you have to have at least 51% ownership and control by one or more individuals. So if there's 5 of you that qualify as social equity and you're in ownership together, your piece has to hit 51%. And they have to meet one of the following criteria: have resided for at least 5 of the preceding 15 years in an area with high tracks of arrest, conviction, or incarceration for marijuana-related offenses. Sorry, I'm like stumbling over my words. Or was convicted of or adjudicated delinquent of a marijuana-related offense under Delaware law, or has a parent, legal guardian, child, spouse, or dependent who was convicted or adjudicated delinquent for any marijuana-related offense under Delaware law before April 23rd, 2023. So that was kind of a mouthful there, but you have to meet one of those criteria. And there's further subpoints under each one in the regulations to help you figure out if you qualify. So that one I know is a little bit complicated, but if you're not a Delaware resident, you don't qualify.
Yeah,
Is
and
the
I think
starting place.
that's the great summary. As the high level overview, don't, this is not all of it. It's not the complete picture. Delaware
Yeah.
resident, cannabis conviction, whether it's you, a spouse, a guardian, a child, something like that. So that a high level, if you don't meet either of those, then you skip to the next one.
Yes. Micro business is the next one, and it's set up similarly to New Jersey, but with a few more caveats. So you have to keep your staff small. You have to have no more than 10 employees, which is the same as New Jersey. So if you're familiar with the New Jersey market, similar overlay here for micro business. Smaller than 2,500 square feet, no more than 1,000 plants per month permitted. And you'll see some different nuances in the regs. So again, this is high level, but you also have to have lived in Delaware for 5 of the preceding 10 years and show proof of that. So again, if you're not a Delaware resident, you can't have a micro business.
Skip it.
So skip it.
Or find a partner, find a business,
Yeah.
which we do actually have clients that come into us and they say, listen, I'm from California. I need a partner here. And we do that a lot. We make these really strategic connections. It kind of feels like we're setting people up on a blind date and we say, okay, let's see if it fits. And if you do find someone that fits, this could be a good opportunity. However, the caveat here is you don't have a lot of time to make those relationships happen to the extent that you're confident you're going to get in the business with the right person. So if you don't have and you don't feel like you have enough time to find someone who meets as a good partnership, meets the qualifications as a micro business or a social equity applicant, or vice versa. Maybe you're a social equity applicant looking for a funding source, or maybe you're a micro business looking for a funding source, or an open business looking for a funding source. You've got very little time to establish a relationship. So we really, really highly suggest starting now because you have to identify your team members in order to get an application submitted and qualify for this lottery in time.
Absolutely. And then open, anyone can apply. You don't have to be a Delaware resident. You don't have to meet any criteria. There's some, obviously disqualifying ownership items listed out in the regulations. So if, there's something in your background that is concerning to you, then you should definitely go look. And there's restrictions, around how many licenses you can apply for of each type and things like that, that might, restrict you applying in different areas. But essentially, it's a standard sized business, what Emily brought up previously, that is typically called that in other states, but here they're calling it open.
Awesome. All right. So, kind of just wrapping this up, we wanted to just kind of give you that quick and dirty overview of the state so that you can identify if this is the next best step for you in your journey in the cannabis space. So, let's talk about high level the application process, when the portal's opening, what is, at a high level involved in this application. And we're going to release some more information over time. So, we'll do a deeper dive into these aspects, but let's just start with high level here, Beth.
Absolutely. So as we mentioned at the beginning, the portal's opening early, which is thrilling. Monday, August 19th, closes September 30th. So you do have a window that you have to get your application in. They will not accept applications after it closes on the 30th. You don't need to have a property to apply, which is really unique. We're seeing in the space, typically you have to have, some type of contingent agreement, a lease, an existing deed to show you're in control of property and they're permitted for cannabis. Delaware, you don't have to do that. You do have to meet pass-fail criteria on the application to be admitted to the lottery. It's supposed to take place in October for applicants who qualify, but you don't have to have a property, which is a big deal. And there's approximately 5 narratives to complete. We're not going to go into detail on this webinar, but we will in the future on what those look like. There's a few more if you're going for one outside of retail. But for retail, there's approximately 5.
Perfect. And I think, an important aspect to just touch on briefly here, like Beth said, the application doesn't require a property. However, you've got a limited time after you're pulled and you obtain a conditional license to acquire a property. So we do advise that if you're getting everything dialed in, focus on getting this stuff completed, but don't sit back and just think, okay, if I get selected in the lottery, I'm going to get a property. You should be starting that search now. We help clients with this local work at this point and even earlier before a state opens, because it takes a lot longer than anyone thinks or expects to secure a property and engage in those negotiations and things like that. So it's not required here. That should take a lot of pressure off in terms of the application. But we also just really highly recommend, in our experience in almost every regulated state in this country, start now in looking for that property as well. Or, maybe focus on this now, and we'll give you the signal, after you get submitted. We work with our clients all the time and we say, okay, now's the time to start. Now's the time to go all out. And we kind of play that balance between, doing too much too soon, investing too much too soon, burning out, versus a methodical, sequenced approach, which is the way we line our clients up, and that really makes them successful. So, Beth, any parting words on this process for Delaware and what people can expect?
Those are really great points, and you do have 18 months to get ready to open after you get selected for the lottery, if you're fortunate enough to do that. So, to Emily's point, you don't want to spend 12 months of that looking for a property. You do want to start as soon as possible, maybe have a backup plan for it or a contingent agreement or something along those lines that we can certainly advise you with. But I think get started now, immediately. We know the portal opens on Monday. We now know what they're asking for exactly, because interestingly, in Delaware's regulations, they have, under almost every point, the commissioner can add whatever he wants to the application request. So it's good for you, us, attorneys, everyone to see what they're actually requiring now that the portal is going to be open. And if you have any questions, just want to chat about it, our information's up on the slide, and give us a call or set up a meeting.
Awesome. Yes. And to reiterate what Beth said, our email is info@cannabusinessservices. Our website is www.cannabusinessservices.com. And as you can see in the screenshot here, we actually have a Calendly link that makes it super easy. Select a day and time that works best for you, and we'll talk to you. It's free 15-minute introductory call just to get an understanding of this industry and see if it's a right fit for you. We're happy to advise on that. We also provide a lot of information throughout our social media platforms, our blogs, our websites, state pages that talk about each of the industries happening here. So we also advise people to really dig into what types of questions to ask to vet your consultants, your attorneys, your vendors. So if you're looking to get an understanding of how to hire the right firm, whether it's us or someone else, give us a call. We can walk you through the top questions we like to ask. And we also have a guidebook that you can get for free. So certainly reach out if those are some the things that interest you. Again, it's not about us. It's about making sure that you partner with the right groups, whether it's us or anybody else. And these questions will really help you do that. So please reach out if you have any questions, and we'll be releasing more information as we learn it ourselves, and we'll give it to you. Thank you all.
Bye.